And he kind of runs in. He's kind of known as the Spider, which I thought was
Yeah,
funny.
they're not calling him
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah. All right, boys, where to begin with this one? Spider-Noir, brand new show, a brand new addition to the Spider-Verse universe.
Yep.
So what was your guys' thoughts on this one?
Thought it was pretty good overall. I like the style. It was a little cheesy at some moments,
Yeah.
but overall, I think it was pretty good.
I think that's what I was kind of going for because it reminded me of a Marvel special presentation, one of those like Werewolf by Nights. Like it's kind of like not an Elseworld story, but it's like I don't know. It's not really supposed to be. I wouldn't say not serious, but I mean, I kind of like the tone it was going for. I did like how it was kind of like that 1920s like aesthetic. Like I feel like I like stuff that's a little different sometimes, rather than just the same carbon copy superhero shows we get sometimes. So
Yeah, it definitely had a Marvel Disney Plus short form series vibes. Comparing it to the other Disney Plus shows on like in the MCU,
Yeah.
I don't think it holds a candle to something like a Loki or even like WandaVision.
No.
It would definitely, if I was ranking it against like those MCU Disney Plus shows, it would definitely be towards the bottom half. I think it's better than like She-Hulk and WandaVision, but comparing it to something this year, I don't think it was better than Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Wonder Man held my attention more than this. I struggled to get interested in this show.
I think it took a minute. Yeah, like the first couple episodes is like feeling it out. I thought it got better as it went on. Like the last couple episodes, I actually like enjoyed. So, but then the ending and everything.
I mean, you would hope that the plot would pick up and get more interesting towards the end.
I don't know.
so-
Sometimes some of those MCU shows they like start good and then just
yeah,
fall off
like
a cliff.
WandaVision. Yeah, WandaVision was definitely
I
worse.
didn't think it was terrible like by the end, but like it was like the front of it.
Just
was
remember how crazy people thought it was going to be, though. People thought like Mephisto was going to show up, or they thought like
X-Men and
with
like,
the whole Quicksilver, and he
Yeah.
just ended up being that Ralph Boner
I
or
still can't
whatever.
believe they did
yeah,
that.
yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, going into this show, not too much excitement from me. I'm not as big of a fan as the Spider-Verse movies as other people are. Like most
yeah.
people, I've heard literally a ton of creators say that the Spider-Verse movies are like better than every MCU movie. Like they think they're better than like Infinity War and like Civil War.
Or like they're the best Spider-Man movies.
Which is just
Spider-Man
that
movies.
is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just can't get into animated like superhero movies or shows the same way I can live action.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch X-Men 97. I had no interest to watch like Marvel Zombies or like What If. So with the Spider-Verse movies, I think they're cool for what they are. I think it's kind of like a cool spin-off universe, but I don't know. I'm not as die-hard of a fan of those movies as other people are. So going into this one, I just wasn't too excited about this show, to be honest.
Yeah, but I like the first one I liked, and then the second one I thought was really good actually, but it's taken forever to get the third, the Beyond the Spider-Verse. But then Nicolas Cage is funny to me. He's like such a different actor than most people. He's like has his
Yeah.
own like tone and way he like
Yeah.
speaks and
And
stuff.
from what I remember from the Spider-Verse movies, I know he obviously had an accent, like playing, like voicing Spider-Noir.
Yeah.
But I don't know, some moments it was kind of like how you said there was like some corny, like weird off moments. I don't know if it was like his commentary or like the way he was joking, especially when he was in the Spider-Noir outfit.
Yeah.
It seemed like when he was like fighting villains and stuff, the way he was joking mid-fight, kind of like Peter Parker does.
Like talking a little bit.
Yeah, and like joking around as he's fighting villains. I don't know. It just came off like corny and weird to
He's
me.
like that in the Spider-Verse movies too. He doesn't have that big of a role in Spider. That's kind of why I was surprised the show was even kind of like made.
Yeah,
because
that
he's
he
like a
even-
pretty small character.
Yeah,
and-
that he even got his own spin-off like this. I do like that it's live action, that they changed it from live action, because obviously like in the Spider-Verse movies, there's moments like when what's his name? Donald Glover
Yeah.
showed up in, was that Across the Spider-Verse?
second one.
Yep, he's obviously like in live action, like a real person, and the other characters are animated. So I wonder if this is kind of taking on the same thing. Like in his universe, he's live action, but when he gets pulled into like the multiverse or like Miles' universe, he's animated.
Animated,
So
yeah.
I'm not too sure.
I was gonna say too, because me and you watched it in black and white, and then Sean, you watched it in color, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's a difference. I kind of wanted to watch it in like black and white, I guess, because that's kind of how it was made for. It's kind of like going for that aesthetic.
Yep.
But
yeah, because obviously in the Spider-Verse movies, he's in black and white constantly. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like his whole universe thing. So
yeah, it reminded me of, like I said earlier, like Werewolf by Night. How they had that. It was
how
in
the
black and
whole
white.
thing was in black and white.
Then they released it in color a little bit later, but this was
Yeah.
obviously at the same time.
Yeah,
But
it was-
I like that though.
It was a cool aesthetic for something different. It definitely matches like the tone of the show, like being set in like the 1920s, 1930s,
Yep.
and there's kind of old school private investigator. Everybody's walking around in suits, and he
his hats.
Yep, and it matches his character, obviously, like wearing the top hat and wearing, or like a fedora,
Yeah.
and that trench coat he's got. So it matches the aesthetic, so I don't mind it.
We can kind of like get into some of our moments we want to talk about. But I think it was episode 5 when he was going around and he was seeing those like superpowered people in the hospital beds.
Yep.
And there was that man spider. That was pretty weird. Apparently, that might be in the Brand New Day. He's going to turn into man spider. So that's apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that
don't
at
know.
all.
It's just like a rumor people were saying. But yeah, that was really weird.
People have always speculated that Miles will show up in the MCU. Obviously,
Eventually,
like people
yeah.
think he'll be in like Doomsday or Secret Wars. Maybe I know in the script that got leaked for Kang Dynasty, like after the fact, Tom Holland and Miles had scenes in the movie together. From what I remember,
Tom
So
Holland
obviously
isn't even confirmed for Doomsday yet, which is I think he's got to be in there.
You would assume so,
Yeah.
at least in Secret Wars. But I mean,
For
I
sure.
mean, we'll see where he's at the end of. Maybe they didn't feel necessary to put him in Doomsday because he's the only other person getting an MCU movie this year.
True. Yeah.
So maybe they didn't feel like it was a necessity to put him in there. But
And we haven't seen his story since No Way Home. So like his whole like people forget he's Peter Parker and like Spider-Man.
yeah,
so
with the whole
we haven't even
spin with
seen that.
Doctor Strange at the end of No Way Home. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, it's set in that like alternate gritty 1930s New York City during the Great Depression. Follows Ben Reilly, obviously played by Nicolas Cage, kind of that down on his luck private investigator. And he kind of runs in. He's kind of known as the Spider, which I thought was
Yeah,
funny.
they're not calling him
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah. I do like the incorporation of some of the other characters, like other Spider-Man villains, like
Yeah.
obviously like Flip Marko being in there, Sandman, and was the other guy supposed to be like the Lizard or
I
his
think
version
so.
of the
That might have
Lizard?
been Tombstone low key. That because it was that big dude.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were wondering who Tombstone was, but yeah,
Yeah.
that might have been Tombstone. Yeah, Abraham.
Yeah.
That guy looked like an
Yeah,
Abraham.
he was huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was throwing around. Got that scene too where he gets like depowered with that antidote later. He stabbed that Robbie dude, stabs him in the eye.
Yep.
And I was like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was kind of some blood and gore moments, like in the first episode when Silvermane slit that guy's throat. The guy
Yeah.
that they were investigating.
Showed that.
Yeah, so it did kind of get dark for the Spider-Verse universe. Like obviously, it's more dark than like the Into and Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Then Cat Hardy too. She was a big character.
yeah, at first I thought she was going to be like this universe's Black Cat,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really think that's where they were going with it. Obviously, Flint Marko was Sandman.
That's funny too. They had like the bugle and stuff still like normal.
Daily Bugle, yeah. Yeah, so still kind of elements of like the normal Peter Parker Spider-Man story. He retires as Spider. We obviously saw him putting his suit into that trunk and like
In the wall.
and putting it inside the wall, and he had to go back and get it later. That was a pretty good scene. When he went into that
bathroom.
couple's apartment, he was in the bathroom. Yeah, he was like posing as a maintenance man. That was a pretty funny scene because he had to get the suit back.
Yeah. Remind me of Punisher. Like put it in the wall, like that
Oh,
blast
yeah.
one
Yeah,
last
yeah,
kill.
yeah,
We
right.
just watched, yeah.
Yep.
Putting like the case in the wall.
One thing that I thought was interesting is I don't know if it's just because he's an older character, but it seems like he's like the weakest version of Spider-Man I've ever seen. Like it seems like in every fight he's fighting like normal like street thugs and they're like beating him in
Yeah, I
hand-to-hand
think
combat.
he was not wanting to use his powers. He was kind of like trying to give that whole thing up. But yeah, he was kind of
He definitely
messed around.
Yeah, he definitely seemed kind of depowered to as strong as like a Peter Parker should be. Because we've always seen every version of Spider-Man, he's got like heightened senses, like he's able to.
They showed that a bunch. That whole like
Yeah,
back
like
of his neck.
he was using his like Spidey sense to like make decisions or know when something was about to happen. But then he was just like by Silvermane's like goons. He's just getting like punched in the face and knocked down all the time. And it just seems like you would think Peter Parker would be able to like fight those villains easily. Like, you know what I mean? Like he would be able to dodge out of the way or it wouldn't even be able to hurt him because he's got like super strength.
Yeah.
It just seemed like his powers weren't fully there. And I don't know if it's just because he's like kind of like an older version of Spider-Man, but yeah, it seemed like his powers were kind of weakened.
I thought it was pretty interesting, like how they showed all the soldiers in the camp and like what effects and like what elements and animals that they were using to test the soldiers.
Yeah, it's a bunch of different animals in that
Yeah.
room. There was like eels and like random other ones too.
Yep.
Then
So
that
all that
spider one.
all that stuff was like being tested on them, and then I guess he went there to save them, and then he just ended up not being in that photo, which is kind of a big.
Yeah, they
He-
brought up that photo a bunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so that
he
was
was
kinda
off to the
key.
side. He was like
Yeah,
leaning
he
against
was
the wall.
dying over there.
Yeah.
And then that doctor came in, and then we found out that other guy that was helping her was her son.
Yeah, but he was like really aging fast. He was
Yep.
supposed to be young, but he looked like an old guy.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting that. She ends up making that antidote and fixing him, but they both die.
Yeah, like what? Nice. They were just used for the antidote, I guess.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Silvermane as the villain?
He wasn't bad.
I
He
thought
grew on me.
Yeah, I like his accent a lot.
His accent.
I think he kind of like this universe's version of the Kingpin to a certain extent.
I can
like
see that.
Kingpin was always kind of like a Spider-Man villain and a Daredevil villain, obviously.
Kind of ruled the whole crime world.
Yeah,
and
it was like the whole underground crime world, and he was like the mob boss type of figure.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought he was all right.
Yeah, which fits perfectly with this like 1920s, 30s
Yeah, with
noir.
this setting. Yeah.
So I think they did good there.
I did like that he was still that Ben was still a photographer, kind of like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He was taking pictures throughout the show.
Yep.
Yeah, with like an old school camera. I did
That's
like
funny.
that, how they were still tying that in, kind of like the same way they tied in the Daily Bugle.
Yep.
So I like this kind of take on this version of Spider-Man in this universe, how it still had elements of like the typical Peter Parker that we
Yeah,
would see.
and with great power comes great responsibility. They said
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he had that
So it's
right
like
off the
a
beginning.
bunch
Yeah,
of-
yeah, because it was his wife or his girl. What was her name again?
Which one?
The one that died.
Ruby.
Ruby. Yep. It was she had said it to him when she had died.
Yeah.
So it still ties into like the Peter Parker story of how he has somebody that's important to him, dies, and then uses that
What's
line.
that called? Like, they changed it in Marvel a couple times to like the access point or something that always happens in a universe.
Yeah,
But
like
it's-
in Deadpool and Wolverine, they called him anchor being.
Yeah,
or
something
like
like that.
an anchor moment. Yeah.
like it always happens to Peter Parker or whatever, Spider-Man.
And the ending did kind of set it up to make it seem like there's going to be a season 2 or more content.
Yeah, but I could. That's what I was going to bring up too. Yeah, I'm curious if they will. Depends probably how the viewers, how many how much attention and stuff this is getting. But we'll see if there's a season 2.
Kind of comparing it to Wonder Man, I don't think this is like a one-off thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wonder Man obviously set up for that story to potentially continue, but it did seem like it was kind of a one-off. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a one-off to me. I do feel like there's going to be a season 2, or it's going to tie into something else and kind of continue his story.
Because this was by Amazon too. Like Amazon made the show, so
Yeah.
obviously Sony produced it, but because it's their character.
So kind of final thoughts here, just ranking the show. Where do you guys rank Spider-Noir, scale of 1 to 10?
For what it was, I mean, I wasn't expecting this to be some huge like my favorite show of all time, but just for what it was, I would give it like a 7 out of 10, just for kind of the tone and everything it was going for. I like Nicolas Cage and everything, so I would get about a 7.
Yeah, I think it's also a solid like 7.5 out of 10. It's not like
Man, you boys are generous.
it's not perfect, but it's.
I mean, I wasn't
I think
expecting the
it was-
GOAT show.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much out of it either. I wasn't coming in with too much excitement for it. It kind of struggled to keep my attention, to be honest. I'd put it like right in the middle of the road. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10. I just think it's kind of mid. I thought Wonder Man at least held my attention. I was a little bit more interested in the characters and the plot points than what we were doing here. So yeah, I don't know if I was comparing it to those other like MCU Disney Plus shows, like I kind of said at the beginning. I think it would kind of be in like the back half of those shows, or maybe like kind of just somewhere right in the middle. Like I think it was better than something like a She-Hulk or like a
Secret Invasion.
Agatha or Secret Invasion, of course, yeah. But I don't think it holds a candle to something like a Loki. That should be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a thumbs up down below. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the Spider-Noir show. Thank you guys so much for staying to the end and watching the whole thing. We'll be back next week with another video. Peace.